Public tantrums, let's talk about it, because I want to share with you the story of my 3-year-old having the most major meltdown in the door of Target, like screaming her head off tantrum in the door of Target, and how I handled it. Because if you have a toddler who's going through the years of having tantrums, it's going to happen in public eventually. First thing you have to understand and just be aware of in your own brain is that tantrums in public are not harder because your toddler's behaving differently. They're simply harder because we as the parents tend to feel judged, shame, like we're being a bad mom, like people are going to be bothered by us, etc. And so we're walking into Target with our whole family, my husband, my 3 kids. Our youngest was like a baby at this point. Our oldest was around 4. She saw that giant cart in the doorway, you know, the one that's like a bus, and she was like, "Mom, can we ride in that one today?" And I said no, and she was immediately like, "No!" And you mean I like hysterical on the floor, sobbing right in the doorway of Target as people are like trying to walk past us, and we're managing like all 3 kids. This 19-year-old kid walks past us, and it gives us this look of like, that's why I'm never having kids, which was pretty funny. Here's what she needed in that moment. She needed me to help her regulate her disappointment. She did not need me to yell at her, to threaten her, to shame her, to tell her, if you don't pick yourself up off the floor, we are leaving. You are being so bad right now. Why are you doing this? You're a 4-year-old. You're bigger than this. You know better. She didn't need any of that. She needed me to help her manage her disappointment. That's what a tantrum is. That's all you ever need to do. You don't need to ignore it because it's a bad behavior and she's trying to get attention. Like, I hate that advice. That advice drives me crazy. When your toddler is having a tantrum, and again, I say toddler loosely, like 1 through 5 or even 6-year-old is having a tantrum. They've got a big feeling. They don't know how to regulate it on their own. So my husband took our 2 younger kids, and I took her hand and I just pulled her over to the corner and I squatted down. I softened my voice. I made sure that I was grounded and calm. I'm not worried about all the other people that are probably like looking at us and thinking like, that's a horrible mom who can't keep control of her little child or whatever, because those people don't know what they're talking about anyways. But I sat down with her. I said, that's really hard. You really wanted that one, huh? Right? I validated her feelings. I was the calm, emotional, regulating energy that she could feed off of. We took a few deep breaths together, and within probably 30 seconds, she gave me a hug. She snapped back into her happy energy, and she ran off to go find my husband and our 2 kids. This comes because for years we have practiced regulating in tantrums. We have practiced me not ignoring them, me not trying to fix it, me not trying to shame her out of having emotions. I have consistently seen her tantrums as an opportunity to teach her emotional regulation skills. So now at that time at 4, she still had that initial reaction of like huge meltdown and disappointment, but it took her 30 seconds to kind of co-regulate with me and come back into a calm energy. That's because she's practiced that skill. She had been crying for like screaming for like 5 or 10 minutes. I might have gone outside around the door. I might have gone out to the car to give her like a more calming, grounding space, and so she wasn't like screaming right next to people, right? But that's all it needs to be. But public tantrums become easier to manage when you learn how to regulate yourself, and when you practice using tantrums as an opportunity to teach your children about emotional regulation and to model that for them, instead of doing things like ignoring them, sending them to timeout, shaming them, trying to stop it, doing any of that sort of stuff that just kind of like tamps down the tantrum, doesn't actually give them the skills that they need. Okay. If you want to know how to do this in depth with guidance, examples, scripts, tons more stories like that one, that's exactly what I teach in my Toddler Tantrums guide.